Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, and good evening again. What a beautiful day it was today. Welcome back to another session of Speak Your Mind, ladies and gentlemen. It's the show that brings you informative information. At least I hope that's what I bring every Saturday night when I'm in here. Informative information. Real dialogue, ladies and gentlemen. A real interaction. This is what people always been asking for, a real interaction. This is the opportunity every Saturday night when I come on this show. That's what I want. Interaction, dialogue, engagement, conversation, problems, and hopefully solutions behind the problems. How can we fix them together? Tonight, I want to do a little house cleaning. But before I do the house cleaning, you know what to do. Call your friends, your neighbors, your sister, your brother, the folks on the hill, the people down in the valley, the ones on the north side, the ones on the east side, and let them know that the Speak Your Mind show is on. This is your show, Speak Your Mind. Call them and let them know. Please do it now. Take an extra 30 seconds. Go ahead. Let them know that the Speak Your Mind show is on. Now is the chance to get your voice out there. Let it be heard. And you know, people are doing that. They are doing it. Even some of you who do it silently are doing it. Thank you for doing it. Those of you that use only the text, you do it regardless. So I want to hear more of that. I want to see it more. Get out there, call the show, send us some text, let us know what's going on. All right? So, a little house cleaning. I want to share two stories with you guys real quick. Since it's my time, I could do that, right? So I want to say hi to Miss O'Neill up in Virgin Gorda. Miss O'Neill, she knows which one of the O'Neills. There's a lot of O'Neills in Virgin Gorda, so this one will know who she is. She rode in my taxi just this week, and we had a very short, sweet, introduction, conversation, trying to pick each other's brain. And she said something to me that made me think and laugh, when we were talking about, political sides and representation. And she said something to me that was real funny. But I'm not going to tell you what she said because I don't want you thinking along the line. And I don't want to implant anything in your head. But Miss O'Neill, big up to you, all the people in Virgin Gorda, the real activists, not that other people are not, but the real voice of the communities over in Virgin Gorda, big yourself up. So Miss O'Neill, you know where I'm coming from. This is your friend down here in Tortola. Speak your mind. Also, I want to say good night to a really nice, intelligent lady I met today. We could be families, that lady and I. Miss Fred Thomas, I think she said her last name is Thomas, but she's family to the Freds over in East End, Paramtung. I wanted to say good night to her. I had a very interesting interaction with that lady today. And it was fruitful. It was fulfilling. I'm going to share a little bit of what she and I concluded after a little engagement, a little conversation. I gave her a taxi ride from Walmart up to where she lived, up in the hills. And, she said when she first saw me, she heard my voice, she thought, I think that's the guy on the TV show. And she wasn't sure if she wanted to ride with me or not because I guess, and apparently that what happened was she and I, she may have heard me say something on the show, maybe have a different take on it. And she was a bit take off by that, she was a little, I can choke this guy off. I don't like what he's saying. So she said she wanted to call really bad because she thought that it was only fitting for her to call, but she didn't call. So I wanted to share with her that one of the reasons I come to this show is not to have a one-sided opinion or one-sided view. I encourage different sides, different views, because we have a diverse population in the BVI. Not all of us gonna think the same, act the same, do the same. Not all of us gonna believe in the same thing. You could show 100 people in a room the same thing and tell them it's the truth. And some of them gonna walk out, no matter what, gonna say, I don't believe in that. I don't think that's true. And some gonna say, I think that's true, you know. I like what that person said. I like what, and they'll whatever side you're on, they'll find reason to strengthen their cause. They'll find an argument to support what they believe in. So I wanted to say to Ms. Fred, do not call because we have a difference of opinion. And people like her, if you disagree with me on anything, or anything that was said on the show, call us and give us your point of view, because sometimes being on the show, it's like being in a classroom and being the teacher of the classroom. You only see what you're teaching, but you don't see what other people are saying looking from outside in. You hear what I just say? And it's like anything. It's like a coach of a basketball game. He's watching the game, but there's people who are also watching him and the game. And sometimes they might see something that he didn't see. That's why sometimes you see in some of these games, you see extra coaches for different areas. And like in football, you'll see different coaches that covers different areas of the game. And they relay that information to the coach. And say, Coach, that play should have had this play, should have had this added to it. So that's what, consider me the coach. And you being the extra coach, share your thoughts, share your opinion. I know what I believe in. I don't know what you believe in. I don't know what you're holding to be true or not true. And this is why I think we should always find ways to engage one another in a very civil way, civic way, and respect one another's point of view, even if we disagree with it. That's fine. I like that. I enjoy that. I enjoy engaging with people from a different perspective. I meet a lot of different people every day in my taxi. And it's so funny? Even sometimes when I meet a lot of these people from different areas, I can almost sense like who have a lot of interaction with people of color, might have a lot of interaction with people from other countries. You could always tell when you're talking to them. So my job is to make them feel comfortable, even if they're not used to being around people like myself. At the same time, engaging them in conversation. Sometimes some people are more direct and they'll tell me things about whatever, whether it could be about their presidents, their country, and I might have a different point of view. So I have to find a diplomatic way to, put my points in there, to strengthen what they're saying, at the same time putting my opinion in the mix without offending them. Don't worry about offending me. If you have a different point of view on anything that I say in the show, let's share it, man. Don't pick up the phone and call the people who run the station and say, he on there trashing so-and-so, and he says so-and-so. I get that a lot too. I get that a lot, ladies and gentlemen. People say I say things where I wasn't even part of the conversation, or I wasn't even in the area when the conversation was being taken, or having. So please, let's just engage in the conversation. Call me up. Let me know how you feel. You know what I'm saying? I come in here every Saturday night with an open mind. Yes, sometimes I have my agenda because it's the only way that I can engage the BVI population to be more active. People here, no matter how much you suffer in silence. No matter how much you're hurt in silence, because you think, I don't want to be embarrassed. I don't want people to know. Sometimes a little cry is what it takes to get a little help. And I think for the past 3 years since I've been on this show, I've seen a lot of changes as a result of a lot of the cries. I've seen a lot of movement as a result of the activism. I've seen it. If you haven't seen it because you haven't making check, I write them down. I keep track. I see it. I see it every day. So, Ms. Fred, Ms. O'Neill over in VG, I just want to say hi and good night to you guys. And Ms. Fred, I just want to encourage you and people like yourself. Again, if we have a difference of opinion, feel free. Call me up. Let me know how you feel. All right? So, ladies and gentlemen, on my agenda tonight, man, I have a whole lot of stuff. But we're going to cap them as we go. We're going, as we go along, we'll talk a little about them. But I want to leave this in your head before we take a quick break. And then we're going to come back and I'm going to go right into it. I want to talk a little bit about election. The different parties, the different people. I want to get your feedback on the whole election situation, conversation. I want to know how you feel about moving forward, whether or not you think it's going to be early. Why do you think it's going to be early if you think so? Or if it's going to be late, why you think it's going to be late? What would you like to see as far as a new representation, a new government, or the same government with a few new players? Because obviously the NDP picked up some new players. VIP got to pick up some new players. We got a new player in the game, such as PEP. So I want to know how you guys feel, regardless of what team you're going to be supporting. I'm not asking you who you're voting for. I'm simply asking you about the general concept of the election, the feeling you have in relation to the election coming up, the timeline for the election. Is it going to be called? I'm going to ask you things like the work that's being done. We see a lot of movement in road construction, paving, and, sidelines being built up and so forth. I'm going to ask you about that. How do you feel about that? Do you think that it's an election gimmick? Or is it a genuine plan from the beginning and it's just now we're getting to it to move the country forward? How do you feel about those things? So, more things to talk about, but I'm going to hit that a lot. I want to talk about that. I want you guys to give me your feedback on the whole thing. So we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to drink some water. We're going to come right back and we're going to get all in it. All right, welcome back, guys. Welcome back. So tonight, again, it is Speak Your Mind. So if you guys want to talk about anything else that's bothering you on your mind for the whole week, you just couldn't wait to get it out, you need to get some attention in some area throughout the BVI, call the show. You know the show makes a difference. I understand that water situation has come back since, us blasting water, sewage, and all that other good stuff. But what we were doing was basically highlighting the issues in areas that needed attention, and they got attention. So big up to you who are getting your water back as a result of the Speak Your Mind show. We're going to take some credit for that. So election 2015 or 2016? BVI election 2015 or 2016? I'm going to get into that in a minute. I asked you guys some questions, and I'm going to ask you those questions again. But let me read one of the texts. One of the texts just came through and said, "Bye, Sam, you talking some stuff there. Anguilla just swept the entire government." How does that play in the BVI? Well, my personal opinion is that Anguilla's Anguilla. Anguillians was unhappy with the system. They was unhappy with the government there. And they came to the poll and made a change. Actually, it was 6-1. I heard that the guy who won in the one, he's actually independent. So you do need an opposition. So he'll be the opposition. If he wasn't there before, he'll be getting a lot of licks for something that he probably wasn't responsible for. But, that's something to watch, though. There's a few other countries around the Caribbean that has a major change in their political structure. Anguilla was one of them. I think Dominica was the only one who didn't change. Their leader, Scarrett, is still in power. Antigua changed their leader. We had other places like St. Vincent and the rest of them coming up. So things to watch. Here in the BVI, I believe that, when you're in power, when you're the government, you obviously have to do a lot more now to impress people. And there's some who are impressed. There's some who are impressed with what they see going on. I heard Ms. Parsons said she's impressed with a lot of the road work going on. Anybody who wants road work now, she said, could come out and get it. She said that when the cruise ship thing was going on. Anybody who wants cruise ship work could come out and get it. So she was impressed. She's still impressed. And she's a strong supporter, and I like that. I like the fact that she speaks her mind. If you don't like what she's saying, too bad. You speak your mind. Say what you think. So, of course, the question is a lot of this road work a result of real planning coming forward? Or is it all of a sudden we find money now to do things that we really didn't care to do before, and it makes sense now to do it because election is near? What do you think? Do you think it's an election gimmick? Do you think it's genuine? You think it's part of the plan? Because yes, they spoke about infrastructure development. Yes, they spoke about roads construction. Of course it's in the manifesto. But I think the question a lot of people were asking, well, what took so long? Why it took 3.5 years, moving into the 4th year, the end of this government's term, before we start seeing real effort in fixing our roads? Same thing with the land situation in Virgin Gorda. What do you think about that? Do you think that's an election gimmick? Or it's genuine things that are happening? We know there was some conversation going on. We know the Minister for Natural Resources were supposedly working on distribution of the land. We're seeing people complaining that they've been waiting for years when all the necessary paperwork was finished and all the government had to do was sign the piece of paper. Now, so some people said. So now we see, or we hear, we haven't seen it yet. We don't know yet who's actually going to get the land. We know some 60 people or so in Virgin Gorda. So big up to you in Virgin Gorda, by the way. First of all, if you're going to get land, I am happy. I am happy for you because you deserve it. I think Virgin Guardians deserve all the land in Virgin Gorda. And you shouldn't sell. When you get that nice piece of land in your hand, don't sell, ladies and gentlemen. When the investor come and he say he wants to do something with your land, no problem. Get a letter. Get a letter and a deposit. A letter of intent. What he intends to do with your land. He wants to build a house on it to rent, to make 15, 20 grand a week. No problem. Build to suit. Don't sell. Build what he needs. Take the deposit. Whatever it costs to build the house, take it as a deposit. I'm telling you, this is a gimmick they pull on you, on us. We could use it on them. Stop selling your land. When they come with their big, bright, fancy ideas, no problem. When it's something simple and sensible, like what we're here talking about. We're not talking about when they want to develop 300 acres of land. I could tell you a different way to be a part of that, so you don't have to give it away for nothing. But when you got a nice little piece of land sitting down in front of Mooney Bay, or overlooking the sound, or close to the bats, or all of these big bright ideas, get that plan. So no problem. I ain't selling. But what I'll do is I'll lease you for 50 years. But I need a copy of your plan. I need a letter of intent. And I need a deposit for what it's going to cost to build it. I going to build to suit and lease to them. Stop selling your land. So big up to all of you in Virgin Gorda who got land. If you got it yet. If you ain't get it yet, I'm asking the question. It's a simple question. Is it a campaign ploy? Or is it a serious thing? It's just part of the plan. And now it just happened to be the time where it's going to be shared. You know what I mean? So road work, land being shared, all the other things, increment. Government just spoke about civil servants getting their increment. Is the timing just happen to be around election time? Or are they really genuine about what they're doing? What took them so long? We see money spending. We hear about budget raising to 311 million. So we know there's surplus. What's taking so long? Why did it take them so long to actually do these things? Is it a campaign ploy, or is it a serious and just part of the planned situation we're in? I'm asking your opinion. I don't know. I'm doing what they call a survey. I'm trying to get feedback from everybody, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not knocking nothing. I'm asking the questions. Just answer the question. You can send your text if you want. You could call if you want. We're going to put the phone number. Engineer, go ahead and put the phone number up for the folks who want to call in. We're probably going to take a quick break because my buddy Courtney just showed up. So we're going to let Courtney in on the conversation in a few minutes. But let me know how you feel about the whole thing, ladies and gentlemen. Early election. The question is, do you think there's going to be an early call for the election? Those of you who understand the Constitution and how the election has to be called, I heard it's like 90 days before the last election date or 90 days after. Within that time, there has to be a 30-day grace period, and then it could be called 60 days in between. So it could be February, or it could be January or February of next year. Or somebody said recently it could be July or August of this year. I'm asking you, do you think there's going to be an early election? And if you think so, why would they call an early election? What do you think would be in their best interest to call an early election? If you don't think so, why not? Why don't you think they wouldn't call an early election? Simple question, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing controversial. We could have that discussion. We're grown people. It's an open-ended question. We can have that conversation. There's nothing to be afraid of. You don't have to worry about somebody listening to your voice and you might be a supporter and they thinking, oh, he's support. No. That's not what it's about. When they come into your house in the next few weeks, what are you going to tell them? Well, I can't really speak out because I ain't sure if you're going to understand what I'm saying. They're going to come and ask you direct. They're going to come and ask you direct for their vote. For the government side, opposition side, and you're going to have that conversation. Why you can't have it tonight? Call me up and let me know. Do you think there's going to be an early election, ladies and gentlemen? Simple as that. New candidates. Give me your take on some of the new candidates. You know, call them by name. They're in the paper. You can call them. They've already pledged their allegiance to whatever side they decide they're going to run. So if you want to analyze them tonight, call their names. Tell me what you think, whether they can win. They don't stand a chance. They're going to look good. They're going to give this person a run. Call me and let me know how you feel. All right? So ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back, guys. Welcome back. 2 texts just came in, or 3. One person said they believe the election going to be in November. It can't be in November. The government has to be dissolved by November. And I think Courtney will straighten this out when he comes. So I think it has to be a 30-day grace period. And then you have 60 days. The election could call in between that. So it could either be January or February. It can't be November. I think there's a 90-day play in that. And somebody also said that according to the minister, the representative, Mr. O'Neill, the land in Virgin Gorda situation is not an election ploy, the person said, because he said he remembered some kind of paperwork being going through to get this whole land thing straightened up. So Mr. O'Neill is the expert on that. He don't think it's a land election gimmick. Well, what do you think? Send me a text. The phone number is up. Hit me up. Courtney, what you think, man? I was asking the folks about the election.
Yeah, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, Sam, it's always good to be here on the show.
Yeah, man. Election coming up.
Yeah, that's true. It's
2015 or 2016?
well, from the signs of it, I think we're either in for a surprise or in for a long wait. One out of the two. I was talking with some of my colleagues and I was saying if it's a long wait, it's going to be an expensive wait because it means that the various persons who will be vying for the various positions
Got to spend a lot of money.
would have to spend a lot of money. If it's
Ooh.
a short period, then they spend less. you
Yeah.
know.
But then they might not get their message out.
They may or they may not. Depend. Remember now we have Facebook, Twitter, we have Instagram. We got a lot of ways of getting messages out now. It's not like before.
Yeah.
You don't have to just depend on the local newspapers or the local online media. There's a lot of ways of
Gotcha.
getting your message out that
Gotcha.
other than before.
Yeah.
Some of my colleagues tell me that I think it's going to be sometime around when the young college students return home. That might be an opportune time, rather than having to pay for a ticket for them to come back shortly after.
Oh.
So, and they wouldn't be here before the schools are closed.
Yeah.
So that may be one of the indications.
So summer.
Well, yeah, but summer, yeah. But Sam, I think when we start talking about political reform, we should be talking about knowing when the next election should be and that kind of stuff. We shouldn't be guessing about when election should be and stuff like that. It should be a set time, and it should be public knowledge that so that persons can prepare themselves if they want to contest a seat in a democratic way. Not guessing to see who gonna.
So you think we should have something similar to what they have in the U.S.?
Yeah.
Like a set date.
Yeah.
Every 4 years.
Every 4 years.
It's on this day.
Yeah.
You know.
And I want to say something to the viewers out there. I want to let them know that we have a number of people in this country who are capable of running this country. It's not just a select few. There are a lot of people out there, and we don't have term limits, and maybe that is something we should look at as well. Why not have term limits? I mean, I'm no genius, and if you're not a genius, it's possible that other people who are not geniuses as well. So what's wrong with having a select set of people run the country at one point, then somebody else run it, etc. You shouldn't get this job for life. In other words, if you're going to be a job for life, let's change the constitution and say once you get a job, that's it. You're in for life.
You're in for life. But Courtney, seems to be a lot of fear mongering going on.
Yeah.
With we can't select too many young people, or we can't have these type of people because whatever the reasons,
But my take on that, Sam, is if we're spending money and borrowing money for the lifetime of those same young individuals, they ought to have a say in what happens to the money, because how could they feel comfortable knowing that these decisions are being made that's going to affect them, not us? They're going to affect them. So why don't they have an opportunity to play an active role in deciding whether we're going to go, very deep into debt, or we're going to have proper risk management and prepare for the eventualities.
Yeah. Well, we see a few of them now on the ticket with the NDP. Got about 3 new proposed folks coming in. We got Brother Penn in the 8th district, and we see on the VIP side, we see a number of young people who never been in politics before, now really pushing the umbrella to get in there. So I think Courtney, the young people are really standing up. And then I saw a press release today that we have the guy Jugo.
Yes.
I think he and another young lady going to start be doing some things called Word on the Street.
A DeCastro woman.
A DeCastro lady. So we starting to see a lot of people who are actually taking a more active, progressive approach to this whole thing without the big money, without the big noise, without the big establishment. I think that's great, Courtney.
Yeah.
I really think so. I think it's
Sam,
great
don't forget what we're talking about. We're talking about a paid position that pays in excess of $100,000 a year.
Okay.
This is not a joke. If you're a customer of making $3,000 a year and you step it up to $100,000, that's a major difference.
Yeah.
Okay. You get housing allowance, you get travel allowance, you get there are a lot of things that go along with it with this position.
Definitely.
And that is what is at stake. It's not, you hear a lot of people talking a lot of other things, telling you a lot of other things, but they're not mentioning that fact. You get to live in your own house for free.
Yeah. Everything is covered.
Everything is covered, you know. And sometimes when we say things like this, people want to challenge it. But I challenge anybody out there who get a budget and read the budget. If you don't believe what I'm saying about the positions, and I'm talking about all 13 positions, get a budget and read it. And you might be surprised.
Well, it's real.
Yeah.
See, you got some text there.
Yeah, we got a text here that came in. It says, Sam, Anegada is in the 9th district. If the people in Anegada has been waiting for more than 6 years for their land papers, why should 60 people in the same 9th district, meaning Virgin Gorda, get land in a matter of weeks? We're not fools anymore.
So you over there watching, I'm asking you again, is it a campaign ploy? Or do you think it's real? I hear what your text is saying, but call me, man. Call us and let us know how you feel about that, because you're right. I mean, you waiting 6 years for a piece of paper, and actually people have been waiting much longer than that in Anegada.
Yeah.
So I find it crazy.
Another text came in, Sam, and said the cruise pier will be opening on Wednesday. Big up the government for that. I hope to see ships on both sides of the pier. There you go, Sam. That's your business.
Well, me too. I'm hoping to see that. I know next month we only got 4 calls. I'm hoping to see more.
You have a challenge, Sam. Someone said, who exactly is doing the fear mongering? Is it government or opposition?
I don't know. You tell me.
Is it government? As far as I know, it's just the opinions of the populace.
Okay.
But the text really coming in.
Yeah, well, the text gonna come because the phone calls is substitute for the phone calls, you know? I hear the beeps.
Yeah.
Let us know how you feel, ladies and gentlemen. Big question. Early election or no early election?
Here we go. We got a call. Good evening. You're re-speaking mind. Go right ahead, please. Good evening.
Good night, Courtney.
Good night, sir. How are you doing?
Good night, Sam.
Good night. How are you?
Hanging in. Courtney, if I'm not mistaken, I heard you made statement to the point where you were making reference to our elected official and what it is they receive as representative of the people. That's exactly what you were making statement.
That's exactly what I was saying.
Okay, let me ask you a question, Courtney. I think you have offered yourself a few times in the past for political office, right?
Sure.
Okay. We understand that had you been successful, you also will be having things being given to you also.
You know when you're offered something, you have 2 choices. You could either refuse it or take it. Which politician we have here has ever refused that?
Yeah, but are you telling me? Because you see, this is what the problem is. This is the whole problem with politicians and politics. Where you find there are a number of criticisms being made towards these matters of like this. And when persons now become elected, you're not hearing anything.
But you're making one mistake, and I was never elected.
No. I'm not saying that. I am saying that you put yourself up for political office, and the question is, what would Courtney have done had he been elected? No, Courtney could say anything now because he hasn't been elected. Now,
Yeah, but if you don't have it, caller, based on what I'm saying is based on my principles, my own personal principles. If you don't have any principles, you look like you could get elected easily. Maybe that's the problem.
Courtney, everybody got principles, but when they get elected is another story. Okay?
That's
So
easy.
I'm just
for you.
saying-
That's easy for you to say. But if you look at the history of our politics, we have people who would be on one party one day and the next day they're on another party.
I'm just
There are
saying,
people who would be the chairman.
Them kind of thing ain't happening no more, Courtney. I haven't heard of that for a long time.
Oh.
Nobody ain't jumping the seat no more. Nobody ain't jumping across no floor no more. Them they look at the ground. People understand what it's all about. Okay? So I am not seeing that kind of behavior. I think we could be becoming more, what we call politically more mature. So we understand that those kind of things, they cannot continue. But let me just say this. It seems to me when I hear criticism like this, it's like persons who offer themselves for political office. What are they supposed to do? Go in there for nothing? Man, they got to get something. This whole issue of leadership is stressful. And I personally feel that when I hear criticism like this, I am really upset because these people got to get something, my brother. And personally, I don't think most of them, it's not maybe all, but most of them, at least, who are leading our country right now, they never really want nothing, you know. So I can't tell you the gone in there because of what you might be making reference to. Because these people are our people. These people don't want nothing. But if the opportunity is there, whether it was put there by a past government or whatever, it falls in place, then they receive it. I mean, look, that's my piece, man.
But yeah, that's your piece, okay, and I understand your piece. But okay, he's gone. But I was going to tell him.
He's listening.
I was going to tell him that they have people who working for government who don't make the allowance that some people get. There are people making less than $23,000 a year working for government. I mean, how could you justify that?
Yeah, but Courtney.
Yeah.
I said two things. A, personally, if I were to run for office, I want to be paid. That's number one. I'm gonna put that out there. But I'm also running for office because I really truly want to help. That's number two. But I'm gonna say this to the caller. I remember when the conversation, the debate, the negotiation to raise the politician them allowance, salary, benefits, and I remember two opposition who didn't say a word against it. They kept it. So I think when I hear people say
And those two oppositions now are in the government.
and those two opposition are now in the government, and one of them said, and the caller just said, they don't want nothing.
Yeah, they don't.
I
want
find
nothing.
that a bit hard to believe when we
Yeah.
hear conversation like, I am an investor, a member of the BVI Investment Club, and I ain't hiding that. But and then I hear others say, well, you can't avoid doing business with ourselves. And then I see a conversation about who was it, the young lady in the passport office, I think, who was saying that she has a problem with politicians registering their interests. So Carla, I think we really need to examine each one and really ask ourselves, are they truly there to help? And if they are, how many people in their different areas are they actually helping, or are they helping themselves?
But Sammy, they ain't only that. Now. If you're there and you don't have any extra grant and you're not helping yourself, give somebody else a chance. It ain't a lifetime job.
Yeah,
You know, come on. It's never ever like that.
yeah.
But if we want to change it and have just politicians elected for life, we could. There are countries that do that.
Yeah.
Once you're elected, that's it. You don't have to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
Good evening. You're free to speak your mind. Go ahead, please.
Good evening. I am online.
Yes, you're online.
Okay. I'm listening to speak
Sorry?
tonight, and I heard somebody mention that they are proud member of the BVI Investment Club.
Could you speak into the microphone, please?
I'm speaking into the phone because I can hear myself very clearly on the phone.
Okay, go ahead. We'll make it out.
What I'm saying, I listened just now, and I heard somebody say that one of the members of the government say that they are proud member of BVI Investment Club. What is wrong with being a member of the BVI who invest in their own country?
You want to answer now, or you have another question? You have another question?
No, I'm still commenting.
Okay. Well, there's absolutely nothing wrong.
I'm still commenting.
Are you listening?
Because the thing about it is, what is wrong with you investing in your own country? You
Okay.
make it sound like it's a crime to invest in your own country.
No, don't do that. Don't listen to half of a conversation and then try to interject your own ideas. The response was from a caller who was just mentioning something about what Courtney said earlier. What I'm saying is that no matter what their investment they have, based on our system, they supposed. Hold on.
What I would like is to clarify.
Go ahead.
Okay, what I would like to let people know that BVI Investment Club and NDP are separate entities altogether. they are not one and the same, because if you look at BVI Investment Club members, you will see half NDP and half VIP. So there is no comparison between the two of them. They need to be separated. They are different entities altogether. So they should stop it. It is wrong. You should not. Everybody needs to get along in their own country. But nobody needs to destroy the country just because you invest in your own country. Destroy a club just because you invest in your own country. It needs to be stopped. People are wrong. They are destroying the country just because people invest in their own country. That is wrong. You need to stop it. They are different entities altogether. BVI Investment is non-political. So they need to stop it. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, thanks for the comment, but I will respond. It's clear. Nobody, this is not a conversation about BVI Investment Clubs. Let's kill that as soon as I'm done with this conversation. That's not what it's about. But since the topic came up, we simply said that members of the government, while being questioned in the House, and this whole thing was about conflict of interest and whether or not there was some form of conflict of interest, because people were not disclosing their holding in private companies, whether it's the investment club, whether it's their own investment opportunities with their family members. That was the topic. That was the real essence of the conversation. Nobody here, I know I am not, against me, a BVI Islander invested in my country. So I can't be against other people investing in the country if them from here. I believe this country belongs to us. So yes, when there's opportunities, we should be able to invest. But when you're in office, when you're in government or opposition, and you're representing people's interests, and you have a personal interest in something that you're supposed to be overseeing, there is a problem. There's an ethic problem. And that's why there's laws and rules that governs that. And people are supposed to disclose their holding. They're supposed to disclose. And when they're doing business with themselves, they're supposed to go and ask permission. It's simple as that. So don't leave this conversation tonight and say anybody was here bashing the BVI Investment Club. That's not what this topic is about. Hell no, that's not what we're talking about. I am all for the BVI Investment Club and 100 more. So if you have one that I could join, please let me know. If I can afford it, I will be happy to join it. Courtney, anything else?
Let's see. We have another text that came in. Let's see what
Okay.
people are still shooting at us. It
Yeah, I
said,
think you got some
it is
phone
my
call.
understanding that the CEO announced that there will not be no increment, increment for the health service workers. I am asking, does the minister know anything about it?
Why wouldn't he?
We wouldn't know, but
But why wouldn't he though? I mean, come on. Let's be real. Let's stop beating around the bush. If he's the CEO for the hospital services and there's a major problem, I'm sure the minister is aware. The minister is the kind of person that is aware. So then take your complaint to the minister. You start here, we're gonna help you spread the message. Minister for Health and Human Services and Health, the people want to know, are you aware that they say, the person sending the text saying that the CEO, Mr. Klein, said there will be no increment. And the people in the hospital want to know if you're aware of that and why not. We need to stop beating around the bush. Of course he knows. I mean, come on. He's overseeing the department. The hospital is going to be a big issue for the next how many years. Money is the biggest factor in those issues. So, of course, the ministers them know about it. If any minister out there, Courtney, that have a portfolio, that's sitting around still telling people that they are not aware of what's happening in those portfolio, he doesn't need to be a minister.
that's the same like saying you don't know what's happening in your district.
Ah, okay.
We have another text that came
Hit
and
me
said,
up.
good night. My question is to the NDP. I know that was said on the radio about the land and how it was decided, but in Virgin Gorda community, I am now finding out that belongers got the land. I have write in for land and got no response. I am from here and my parents and forefathers are from here. It is clear to me that the NDP government is for the expats. Ladies and gentlemen, the people are calling and people are texting, and we are the facilitators. We are here. We're going to listen, and wherever necessary, we try to, to give our opinion on something that may show some clarity into what's happening. Sam, government land issues have been a real important topic in the last, I would say, in the last 6 or so years. Started out with the Cayman Islands, the Turks and Caicos Islands, where the government was accused of getting favors for Crown land, and they called a big investigation, and the British government took over the country, etc., etc. So, Crown land is usually always a very touchy topic, and their rules and their ways of handling Crown land properly. Sometimes, for one reason or another, things happen. Whenever we have a government, they have to have policies in place to manage whatever they're doing. And we have to abide by the policies that the government make until there's a change. I'm referring to some of the policies, especially as it relates to Crown land, that I know about, that I think are not serving the interests of British Virgin Islanders, native, indigenous, whatever you want to call us. I'm speaking specifically of things like where land has been leased for $1.40, 45 cents an acre and stuff like that, okay? I think those things are totally ridiculous, and in 2015, unacceptable, right? The issue of land, in large numbers like 60 and stuff like that, I know of a few of them. Harspat was something done in that manner. Some land in Seacoast Bay, some land in Upper North Sound was done like that as well. So from time to time these things do happen. You can't please everybody. I know that for a fact. You cannot please everybody. Everybody will never be happy. So it's a tough call. Proper policy needs to be put in place, and everybody in the country needs to know what the policy is. Once everybody know what the policy is, we'll all abide by the policy. But you can't have a hidden policy. You can't have a hidden agenda, because then people start to speculate as to why. They ask the question why. Text came in. Sam, Virgin Gorda in Handsome Bay needs to pave. That means the road a little bumpy.
They got some more trucks coming over this week. I believe some more trucks are coming over Hanson Bay.
Okay, we got a call. We're going to go straight to the call. Good evening. You're speaking mind. Go right ahead, please.
Hello.
Good evening.
Yeah, guys, here am I again.
Okay.
Here we go now with land. And this is another point I want to make. That it doesn't matter what you do as a government with land, it's going to be a problem. Remember, the BBI is a very small place. Every BBI land can get government land. Every BBI land can get crown land. It ain't going to work out. What do you think we are? Few about what the land can do? Listen, we only got a certain amount of land. And if everybody at BBI landers put in, get a piece of land, everybody don't get. And those who don't get, my friend, they're going to be a problem. They're going to be calling, they're going to be texting, they're going to be criticizing the government. It doesn't matter what you do. Damn it you do, damn it you don't. And these are the facts you got to deal with.
Carla, let me ask you a question real quick. And I think you're right. No matter what you do, you're going to get criticized, right? But what are the policies that govern the issuing of land? Do you know?
I have no idea. What I can tell you, that I've been following politics in this country for at least 40 years. And I'm going to tell you this much. It being happening, this my brother.
Hey, what?
Down the line is the same situation with land. When government has to give out some land to some people, others are criticizing, BBI land is Barney and all. Guess what? I'm a BBI lander too. And I choose not to apply for the government land. You know why? Because the same kind of problem. I went to the bank and applied to a loan to buy my land. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what you do. as a government, as a minister, as a representative of the people, at the end of the day, as long as you don't get what you want, you're going to become a critic.
But I think, yeah, but Carl, I think part of the challenge, right, that a lot of people are facing is that you got some people who, first of all, we don't know what the policies are. You don't know what guide the issuing of land, whether it's this government or the last one or the next one to come, right? There's nothing written, it seems like. I don't know, I haven't seen anything. And the part of the problem is that you got so much people waiting for so long. And they assume that they've been waiting, but then we see other people who they know for a fact just came on the list, but then land was issued to them. So without a clear guide, a clear policy, then yes, the government or whoever's going to get criticized because we don't know if it's fair and equitable. We just don't know because there's nothing guiding nobody. And you're right, everybody can get land that apply, but those who've been on the list, if there was some guided policy, should be able to get the land first before the next guy who come after because he fulfill all the requirement. But we don't know what the policies are.
But Sam, interesting. You made that statement whereby you say, if you apply for us, you should probably get force. I am all for that. But guess what? It's the same apply to where it relates to the immigration board. If you're supposed to be living in this country for 20, 30, 40 years, you made application for status as a resident, whatever, and you're sitting there waiting for 30 years.
But you're agreeing with us?
And nobody ain't studying you. But guess what? Somebody come from Timbuktu 5 years ago, and you know something that belongs to status. So my brother, this is why I'm telling you I've been following politics in this country for all this time. And guess what? And a lot of time they blame the politician then.
Carla, it's called good governance. We need good governance.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you calling it good governance.
Yes.
If you can put a team together, a 13-member team that is gonna get to talking about. When you get it, call me.
Okay, buddy.
They're easy to find, you know.
When you get it, call me because
buddy.
I don't know where in the world something like that.
Okay, buddy.
Eh?
Okay, buddy.
So understand where you're coming from. And Sam, I take what you were stating in relation to the policies of the land. I agree with what you're saying and everything. But let me just say this before I get off. That if you put clear-cut policies in place, clear-cut policies that everybody got to follow, and you give them based on those clear-cut policies, those who are in getting the problem still.
Oh yeah, but Carla, you touch on a very important issue. You know what it is? You say about the land, but the land is only a stepping stone to getting a home, a house, which a lot of young people are not having the opportunity to have a home. And that is where the biggest part of the problem is. And to try to solve that problem, that is why we're talking about the land issue. Because if you don't have a piece of land, you can't build a home. You don't have a home.
You know, I didn't plan to say nothing. I didn't plan to say anything further concerning this matter. But let me tell you something about this whole situation, life situation, whereby persons need to start prioritizing.
That is true. That is true.
Person in this country, as soon as they start working,
They buy a car.
you will think they will be considering getting a piece of land and not paying attention to government and the poor land. But guess what? They're going to buy a car cost $40,000-$50,000.
But you're hitting the nail right on the head, because we have a system that allows that. You wait till next weekend, you're going to see how many cars up for sale. I mean, brand new cars. You could get a loan without having anything, without having any money. Let's go a bet.
I understand that, Courtney. But
Okay.
as individuals, we need to prioritize and recognize that it ain't about a car, but you can live in a car. You understand? And a car depreciates. Okay?
Well,
Land
we need to have some policies in place that give every fighting young citizen in this country a chance. Just a chance, that's all.
Yeah, I hear you. And when we don't do that,
We would have done our civic duty when we don't do that. And then if they don't take the opportunity, hey, they didn't take the opportunity. That's how life is in the real world.
But Carla, I want to address you asked Courtney, right, if he could find 13 candidates where you can actually get real good governance, right? And a system that will work in the best interest of the people, right? I'm telling you, it could be done, but you know where it started from? It started from the governor's office. When we get these governors who come in and they sit in cabinet, or they before they get here, they see situations, and instead of doing the right thing, instead of putting their foot down, because they have guidelines that governs their strength and their power. It's called a constitution. And they have a lot of reserve power in there. And once they set the tone, you'll see a lot of things straighten itself up. And things will fall in place. Whether it's this government or the last one or the one to come. Once they set the tone, meaning when you start locking people up, when you start holding people accountable for conflict of interest, when you start holding people accountable for victimization, when you start holding people for lying in the house and they're proven to be liars when they go into debate issues, when you start holding people accountable, remember the governor is the ultimate say. He has the last say. And if once it's set from that end, trust me, if you lock some up now, you'll see how quick the next set come in and thread water very lightly. Yeah. That's
I hear you, Sam, but don't forget that is only one corner of our society. The other corner of our society, one bam blast that same governor.
No, listen. Yes, I hear you. But that governor don't work for us, you know. Every governor that you can remember in the last 4 or 5 governors, all of them came and said the same thing in different ways. Every time they go into that high court building, they all say the same thing. My government, and I represent the Queen. It doesn't matter what, boss, it don't matter what people say here about the governor, you know. Really, truly, really does not matter. You cannot change them. The only people who change them is them above him and them above them. Once them set the tone, we going to get things right.
That is true.
I'm telling you. That's the way it has to be. So, Carla, it's good to hear your voice though, man. Mm-hmm. It's real good to hear your voice. You've been missing. You've been MIA for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Sam, we got a number of texts that we can't get to right now. We're going to have to abide by the show. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to take a break, and we're going to be right back with you.
All right, welcome back, guys. Big question. Election coming up. You think it's going to be an early election? 2016 election. A lot of the work going on. Do you think it's a result of the election coming up, or it was already in the works to happen and it just happened to be happening this time? Land given away. Do you think that's an election ploy? Somebody already said it has to be a ploy because there's people also in the 9th district that's in Anegada. And for years, more than 6 years, they've been waiting for their land. And there's people who probably been waiting much longer than that. So share your views. Give us a call. Let us know how you feel. We got a lot of text. Courtney, hit me up on the text, man. I know you got a lot there.
Sam, Virgin Garden, that's Handsome Building Paving. That's where we were at last time. Okay, another text came in. The opposition spoke about conflict of interest in the cruise ship pier. Now that the audit is public information, why haven't the opposition make mention to the people of specific conflict of interest situation at the pier? That's a question for the opposition. Neither you nor I in the opposition, Sam, so we won't be able to help him with that. Another text came in to the Minister of Health. Why are we allowing a garbage contractor is allowed to dump all the garbage from Oil Nut Bay and Mosquito Island, and all the garbage badge in from all the out islands to the dump in Spanish Town. Is that a new garbage dump? Well, seems like that's over in Virgin Gorda. Another text came and said, we need to start on the clinic in Virgin Gorda. We need to start on the clinic in Virgin Gorda.
Which clinic?
They had a groundbreaking ceremony just the other day on the clinic in Virgin Gorda.
Yeah, but in a clinic is a hospital, right?
It's a mini hospital.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, we gotta be so
Another
careful with
text came
terminologies.
in. Another text came in and says, Sam Skelton is the Minister of Health, but how ethical is it for the minister to intervene with such matter increments in a statutory body? A stupid body has, wait again. A statutory body has a board of directors which deals specifically with such matters.
Give yourself a break. Give yourself a break.
When you have a non-British Virgin, another text came in, when you have a non-British Virgin Islander giving out land, how do you expect that British Virgin Islanders will get their fair share? LOL. It's a lot of text, Sam. Next text that came in, it says, look at Spooner's estate. Who gets the most of that crown land? Ladies and gentlemen, we're saying we need a policy that all of us know and all of us can see, like a written policy, black and white on paper. Another text came in and said, if you can't afford land and government gives you land, how can you afford a house? You'd be surprised. I know people without money build house.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Another text come in. The point was the British Virgin Islanders were supposed to have first preference to land.
That's right.
I'm 16, and I guarantee by the time I'm older, I'll have to buy land from someone who wasn't born here. And yes, I born here. And come on, this land thing is just a board game for politics.
60
Ask the
years
people
old.
who got a call or a letter if they have a deed. LOL. British Virgin Islands government ain't nothing but a comedy show. Well, for a young person saying that, it make me feel so bad. But if that's your perception of what's going on, we need to fix it. Another text came in. Doesn't fit and proper with regards to the criteria to be met determines who will first get land. That's the question. If Courtney or Sam applies for land, Sam gets first before Courtney because Courtney is in a better position financially to purchase land at the market price. Wow, I didn't know that, but I know that now. Sam, I'm in a better position than you.
You are. Thank you. Thank you.
Another text coming and says, government need to stop this handout thing and teach a man to fish from giving him fish every minute.
Which government gonna do that?
Text came in, say, hi Sam, I'm here watching and listening to you every Saturday. What I want to know is it right to give people land again when some of those people got land before when they were sharing land couple years before. I'm from Virgin Gorda, born here, raised here, and I'm renting. I put in for land for years now and still can't get a piece. And who get before still getting, I think. That is wrong.
I agree.
If they had something in place, they would be able to
That's
see
right.
who got before.
That's right. That's
and
right.
try to give some others who never got.
That's right. You're
So
absolutely
text that
right.
came in.
She's right.
Yeah.
That person
Please
is
don't
right.
call my name. I don't know your name. I won't call your name. I don't
But
know
we
your
know
name.
we know you're in Virgin Gorda, so. But you're right. If there was a clear policy, and if they keep proper records, of who get,
Yeah.
no one person should get more than one chance. They got a chance, and it should leave something for the next person. So you're right. You're absolutely right. No, it's not fair.
text came in. Say, question for the petition. How many houses do you have in your country? Do you think I could have gone into your country and gotten first preference? Give me a break.
You from St. Kitts?
No, I'm not from St. Kitts.
Oh.
It says someone sent in a text that says VIP separated the land at Spooners. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, land is a touchy issue, a very controversial issue, and we need some policies that are, you know.
Yeah, but you know, Courtney, goes back to what that caller was saying also. Almost in every section in this country,
Yeah.
when it comes to policies and, you know, guidance, it's like it's left up to the person running the show. You know, somebody spoke about statutory bodies having boards and all.
Yes.
Nonsense. We got statutory boards that govern immigration, don't they?
Yeah.
So how come every time there's some controversy, the minister is the one making the decision? How come every time there's some controversy, maybe in tourism, the minister is the one making? BVI Port, the minister is the one involved. BVI Electricity, the minister is involved. Give yourself a break. Everybody knows the game that's played. Ministers have oversight in all the department, and they have a lot of say. They have a lot of say. Board members are people who are selected to help carry out the instructions of the ministers them.
The way how some of those boards are written is the board members are responsible for policy. The staff, the people who are actually on the ground, they're responsible for the day-to-day operations.
Yeah.
They're not responsible for policy.
That's right. That's right.
Policies are made at that level, at the board level, and then they're handed down to the staff. And
That's
the
right.
staff have either do or die.
Yeah.
You know,
so
you either-
so
you
in
either-
a case like
you
that,
either-
Courtney, a major issue like that, you want to tell me that you don't think that the board is consulting with the minister?
Of course.
He has to be. It involves finance.
Yes.
It involves money. And they're looking at all the different aspects as to whether or not they can actually afford to give people increments and what effect that's going to have on the long-term life of the hospital services. So don't tell me they don't know. Come on. I mean, let's be real, man.
Of course.
What kind of society will we be in
got-
if
we got-
ministers ain't
We have
involved?
one more text that came
Then we
in
don't
saying-
need them if they're
saying-
not involved.
It says the police them need to start back giving tickets.
No,
That's-
the
that's
police
the
them
text
don't
that
need
came
to
in.
start giving tickets. The police them need to start doing more stop and search. That's what they need to do. Human profiling, black profiling. We got some idiots in this country. And all the intention is do is to disrupt the good life that we have in this country. They need to do more stop and search. Stop and search me. All I got is some empty seats when there's nobody in the back. Start with me. Mr. Police Chief, start with me. You need more stop and search, random stop and search, frequent stop and search, and they need to be in a lot of these areas where people they have a high potential of committing crime. I mean, we don't need that kind of problem in our country, man. So get out there. I don't want a heap of tickets for seatbelt nonsense, for cell phone nonsense. It is nonsense to me. It might not be to you. It might make sense to you. So don't blow my head off for that. The more important thing is crime. Crime, real crime. Being on your phone is not a crime. We make it a crime. Not having a seatbelt and not protecting your own life, it shouldn't be a crime. A crime is when people are walking around here with guns in their vehicle looking to kill people. A crime is when people are coming here with illegal people from other places looking to do harm to other people. That's what we should be outraged about. Not cell phone and tickets and no. The police them need to utilize the time better than that, man. I mean, I get to work up on things like that. But Courtney, election is around the corner.
You feel so? You honestly feel so?
I personally don't think it's going to be a quick election. I think it's going to be a January or February election.
I think it's going to be drawn out.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to the wire.
Oh, yeah. I think so. I could be wrong. I don't see a July nor August election. I think the way these guys think, the way they operate, and they might try to do differently now, but the way they think and the way they operate, there's a number of major things that have to happen and it would be sensible for them to see those things start to happen so people could feel good and confidence about those things. And that helps them. It helps the confidence of the community. It means an X for them. I don't see any sensible government calling a quick or snap election, hoping that the few have done things is enough to sway people's vote. I don't see it.
That's one way of looking at it, Sam. But you know, I have a political colleague who is telling me plain blank that he don't take political advice from me. So, you know, I know, I know for sure. I know for sure he would be laughing if he were listening.
So
to me.
what advice you gonna give him?
But I was just going to say to you though that in politics, right, calling an election quickly, right, has an advantage to some people. Let's go to the phone and come back. Yeah, good evening. You're speaking mine. Go right ahead, please.
Yeah. Good evening.
Good evening.
How y'all guys doing?
Good.
I do
Yourself?
fine. What about you?
I'm okay.
Okay.
One of them calling about, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's an awful lot of people here and over there. Some of them have one light. Some of them have no tail lights and things like that. I think
I noticed the same. I noticed the same thing like you. I even see some white light in the back. But don't you think the same? Don't you think the same way how we are seeing it? The 300 and something police that we have probably seen it as well.
No.
yeah, I think this is the only country that I see that these things have to go and check because every have to like all your lights supposed to look at everything. Your tail lights, your front light. You know, come on man, you know, it's sickening. It comes like these people only when they only have information like they get everything fixed and vehicle, you know, and after they have to get vehicle license, they don't care nothing about them again, you know. It's sad. I get the police to do something like, you need to come on the road at night and see what happens, or when it's stuck on my ticket, you give my ticket, they need to check these things.
Well,
Make sure that the lights, make sure the lights and everything are working.
well, I don't know if you're aware, but there's a little disjoint between the licensing department and the police department. Where there need to be some you know way of communication between them, and I think you know with some money they're gonna need some kind of money, I think, to make a system where the police could probably have access to the same information that the licensing department have. Because I don't know about you, but I've been stopped in other countries and they would go into the system and check you, and you either go to jail or they let you go.
But this is sickening, man. This is sickening, man. You know, it seems like the law is going through the window, They don't have any other control this thing anymore. You know, everybody do want to feel like
Well, there was one time, caller, when that whole department was in the police. The police did all of the licensing and the checking the vehicles and all that stuff. We have evolved since then to where we have a Department of Motor Vehicle. So I'm saying to you that there's a disjoint happening where the records that are in the one department need to be accessible instantaneously at the other department. That's not happening. And I would want to believe that is the major obstacle in correcting what you were talking about.
I don't have somebody in the police force.
In authority, we hope.
Authority is listening because
We hope so.
It's sickening, man. It's
We
sickening.
hope so.
You want to make.
Just
You know what there's a bicycle in front of you?
just brakes,
Always
just
in
brakes
front of
light, brakes light will be helpful too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The brakes lights over there,
Nothing in the back.
No coins.
I seen that.
Right.
Caller,
One
I seen
hand
that
light,
as well.
One hand left light.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You need to do better than this.
Okay, buddy.
Better than that, you can't maintain everything and know you to have it. You know? Anyhow, good night.
All right. Good night. Yeah, caller, as a matter of fact, I remember too, back in the day, if you even change the color of your vehicle, you had to report it.
Yeah.
You had to go to the police station and tell them you change your vehicle, the color of your vehicle. We had 3 texts that came in. Sam, let's see what people are saying. It says, Sam, this show is Speak Your Mind, and I work for a statutory body for 15 years now. I feel insulted when I text you facts, and rather than you go out and do your research, you're using your opinions as facts. Come on, man. Do your research. Go to the statutory bodies and get the facts. Another text came in. What about those non-established workers working all their lives and nothing to get when they retire? And that is something that I speak about before. I'd like to speak about it again. We should have one government employee. This thing of having people at the whims of politicians is wrong. It's wrong. You cannot have a temporary person for 20 years. Where in the world you could have a temporary worker for 20 years?
Still acting?
Not even talking about the acting. Hi, Sam and Courtney. Good night. Good night to you too. What do you think of the married men out there who are sleeping with these Spanish women who are sleeping with 10 or 15 other men? That's not a good situation at all. What about those non-established workers working all their lives and getting nothing when they retire? I read that text before. The color of lights, according to Sam, is not a crime. Lights fall in the brackets with seat belt and cell phone. That's petty. Only guns and drugs constitute crime. Sam, if it's against the law, no matter how small, it's a crime. Well, I don't think, Sam, I don't think that person realized that you wouldn't disagree with that. The focus is what we're talking about. Where you focus your enforcement is what's important. Enforce all, if that's the case. Don't enforce one or two.
Yeah, there's no consistency.
Yeah, you need to enforce
But
all of
Courtney,
them.
we've been asked to wrap up.
Yep.
I can wrap up with this. I can tell the person, I sat on the tourist board for 4 years. I know how the statutory boards run. Don't tell me, but you've been on board for 15 years. You know fully well that it'll be micromanaged. You know that it'll be micromanaged depending on who is the chairman and who is the director of the entity. And what connection either one of them have with the minister. Please stop playing games with people. Everybody know what time it is when it comes to these boards. Just look around. So you're telling me, but you sending facts? What facts you sending? Look around and look at what's happening right now. And a lot of our boards. And don't tell me that ministers don't have any say or influence on decisions within each statutory board. Don't tell me that. You're fooling yourself. Anyway, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I am done. Have a good night.
Okay, Sam, just one last text that came in. Said these boards, in my view, are jokes
Of course
and
they are.
ineffective.
Of course they are.
Hospital is number one. So, ladies and gentlemen, all now we had a number of texts. We touched on a number of issues. We went from increments. We talked about elections, land being given out. We were able to really and truly speak to the people of this territory from Anegada to Joshua Dyke this time. So, ladies and gentlemen, we had a great show. We'll see you again next week.